Okay, thanks everyone for coming. Yesher Koach. We're going to be learning tonight for the Refuah Shlema of Ahuva Bat Yosefa. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'akol nהיה bidvaro. Amen. You know how when a Torah is shayach to your shorish neshama, when you learn a teaching that you know is really connected to the root of your soul, you remember this. You remember exactly where you were when you learned it. You remember what it smelled like, wherever you were when you heard of that Torah. Same thing when you hear a nigun for the first time as well, like a nigun that you feel is really shayach to your shorish neshama. You remember all the tzviva, all the surroundings of it. And I wanted to do a teaching tonight that we did it 1 year. Eli, you and I did it 1 year many years ago by Jerry's house Shabbos afternoon. And it's a teaching that I thought is much more complicated than it may be. I'm open to that this year, because every year I stay away from it since then. But I remember, Mamish, I thought about it right now. It was 20 years ago when I first learned this Torah. And I thought to myself that if this is the only Torah that I can keep, I'll be a good yid. If this is the only teaching I ever keep, the only Torah that I actually makabel on myself, I'll know that when I come up to Shamayim, there's one thing I could say, I think this was a good one. But every year when I learn it, I realize there's almost no chance of of knowing that this is one that you could really, really keep. So we'll give a little bit of a background, and it's a small piece in the Mei Hashiloach, a beautiful piece in the Ishbitzer. But it's a teaching, a story we say almost every year, Parshat Behar. This is one of my favorite stories in the world. That one night in Parshas, Friday night Shabbos, Parshas Behar, the Pshischa walks into the Beis Midrash late at night, and he says, he gives a big clap on the table, and he says, who here can explain to me what it means to be a chassid? Remember this story? Gives a big clap. He says, who here can say, what does it mean to be a chassid? Now, anyone with a quarter of a cup knows you don't answer. You just stand there silently, Kabbalah's Malchus Shamayim, and you wait for the Rebbe to say something. Must have been a newbie, raises his hand. He says, oh, I know what a chassid is. A chassid is someone that does everything lifnei mishur hasadin. You go above and beyond the letter of the law. That's a chassid. And everyone's on shpilkas, like, what's the Rebbe going to say back to him? He says, that's right. And in our parsha, it says, V'lo tonu ish et amito, which means you should not, we're going to learn the different interpretations of this pasuk, one shall not cheat, one shall not harm, but one shall not fool, cheat his friend. And the language is also used about his brother. So that's the pshat. But lifnei mishur hasadin, how does a chassid learn that pasuk? The chassid does everything above and beyond the letter of the law. So when he sees a statement that says you cannot fool or cheat anybody else, a chassid knows Hashem is telling him, V'lo tonu ish et atzmo. You want to be a real chassidish yid? Don't fool yourself. Don't cheat yourself on anything. Now that's a very big, big, big statement. Because for a person to know when they're fooling themselves and when they're not, you really have to be involved in constant root soul work. Constantly. To be able to say, this is one thing that I kept, or according to the Beis Midrash of Pshischa, like the title of the book that Rabbi Rosen al Shalom put out a few years ago, The Quest for Authenticity, this is the journey towards authenticity. But to be able to be in that state, to know I'm not fooling myself. Now, let's give a few examples. Could it be that coming to a shiur like this is fooling myself? It's a pretty weird question, I know, but
yeah, of course.
How?
Because I have 700 things to do in the house, and I'm basically escaping. So my Yetzer Hara brings me to Shlomo Katz's shiur.
Wow.
We're going to quote that on the next My Yetzer Hara brings me to Shlomo Katz's shiur. It's when you think you've heard it all.
It's like my motto.
That your Yetzer Hara and I are...
Because my
No, you
Yetzer
can-
Hara took me to shiur.
You can very easily do this. I mean, you come here, it's like an act. You're putting on a uniform. You're putting on a costume. I go to the shiur. I go to this. I do that. I go do everything. By the numbers, and it doesn't really reach me. Yeah, you could fool yourself.
You could fool yourself with the holiest things in the world. You could fool yourself. Now, chas v'chalila though, now if someone says to you, you could also fool yourself to think that you're on the level to keep Torah and mitzvahs. That's really the Satan talking.
We
right?
do the best we can.
We do the best we can. So let's see tonight. Let's see tonight inside the Ishbitzer how the Mei Hashiloach really understands this concept of V'lo tonu. Over here, what we're going to do is the one that says V'lo tonu ish et amito. That a person shall not V'lo tonu ish et amito. A person should not fool or cheat, or we're going to see harm his amit. Amit usually means friend or his peer. There's 3 different types of ona'ah that the Torah speaks about. Ona'at mamon, fooling someone with mamon. Ona'at karkaot, that real estate, like masal matan, business. And then the other one is ona'at dvarim,
What is it?
with words. No, same thing for everybody. Should be. Yeah. Here you go.
Something like, the true, whether or not you're truly honoring your mitzvah is if you do it when no one's looking.
That would be a great indicator of not fooling yourself. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
could be. It could very well be. Anyway, this is what else would we want? Like, what else would we want during this time of Sfirat Omer when we're doing some deep root work? I just want to say that it's not stam. We're learning this tonight on the sphere that's tonight. So we always learn in the sphere of my daughter's name. It's very on these Monday nights. This Tiferet Shebanetzach, this like an everlasting beauty, like things that are beautiful forever. Tiferet Shebanetzach, the beauty of eternity. It's almost that if you can plug yourself into not fooling yourself, then whatever it is you're busy with in your life after that, it has a reshimu forever. It lasts forever. It somehow has an imprint on your neshama and in the world forever. Some people come with their beauty, and it shines l'sha'ata. It shines for its time. But then there's people that they come with their beauty and it shines forever. Like the Tzaddik HaKohen said about the Mei Hashiloach. Tzaddik HaKohen said about the Mei Hashiloach, said about the Ishbitzer. He said his titles were for Dorei Doros. They weren't really just for his generation. So we're going to see here the Mei Hashiloach's words. Remember the Mei Hashiloach, he's living about 140 years ago? Even more. 150, what's that? 1870. Yeah, it's like 140 years ago. Yeah, what he's doing is unbelievable. Okay. So the pasuk says like this: "Velo tonu ish et amito, v'yareta me'elokecha ki ani Hashem Elokecha." You shall not fool or cheat your amit, your peer, and in the same pasuk it says v'yareta me'elokecha, and should have yira from your Hashem. Why? Ki ani Hashem Elokecha, because I'm Hashem, your God. Now we know that whenever the Torah mentions the ends of pasuk says ani Hashem or ki ani Hashem. So it basically means that if you keep the first part of this pasuk, there's room for Hashem to be in that place. Like where else did we learn this recently? V'ahavta l'recha kamocha, ani Hashem. When, and throw in any Torah you want, but when the v'ahavta l'recha kamocha is in its place, then Hashem says, can I come too? Can I join also, right? Where did we see this? We just saw this. In the Rishner, right, in the Irin Kadishin, right, by the Heilige Rabbi Yisrael Rishon. So here also, where we learn it out is that if we understand Velo tonu ish et amito, the Ribbon Shalom says, knock knock, is there room for me? So that means I'll do anything in my life. I'll do whatever it takes to understand the beginning of this pasuk. Why? Because my goal in life is to have Hashem reside within me, no matter what. No matter what. So I'm going to do whatever I can to understand the beginning. So look what the Ishbitzer explains this. First, how would we normally translate this pshat? Velo tonu ish et amito. What would you think that means? Who do you think the Torah is speaking to when it says Velo tonu ish et amito? What type of a person? A sleazeball. Velo tonu ish et amito. Meaning, you know you can get away with things, but if you really have Yirat Hashem, you won't do it. That's what it might seem like. V'lo tonu ish et amito. But here the Ishbitzer keher gelo b'kodesh, like he's very much sticks to his dafka, always saying things the other way. He says, no. I want to tell you who the Torah is talking to. Ze pasuk ne'emar af benefashos gedolos yikre erech. Yikar erech means a very valuable. Yakar, erech usually means expensive, right, in modern Hebrew. Something that's yakar, and erech that's yakar means it's expensive. But when it says nefashas yakros erech, it means expensiveness, meaning precious, high, exalted neshamas. Almost, he doesn't say refined, but when you say nefashot gdolot yikre erech, like if someone has a big, precious neshama, you usually don't categorize him in the sleazeball section. You usually be like, he's probably a gewalt. And the Ishbitzer says that's why Dafka Hashem is speaking to big neshamas. Gedolos yikre erech. Why? Why is the Torah telling this to nefesh gdola yikar erech? Kasher yir'u ba'adam she'oseh davar shelo kirtzon Hashem yisparach ve'yirtzeh lekatregel alav u'leha'amisho. When they see that someone does something that looks to be not Hashem's ratzon, and their immediate ratzon would be to prosecute them and to punish them. Now, he's not saying over here you're judging them wrong. He's saying you want emes in the world. And what seems to you that they're doing is the opposite of emes. A big neshama can't stand non-emes in their life. Correct? For them, like take a. This might talk about the tension between the kotzker and the ishbitzer, because this is mamash a non-kotzk Torah. Because here he's saying you're going to see someone that is not acting al pi midas ha'emes, the way that you perceive it, and probably the way that you're pretty close to understanding the Torah. And what's your gut reaction going to want to be? You're wrong. You're wrong. You should be punished. You should be excommunicated. Whatever it is. This is one of the reasons, by the way. I think this is one of the teachings that put the Ishbitzer in somewhat cherem, and why he couldn't get a haskama on his sefer. You'll see why. Al zeh mazhir HaKadosh Baruch Hu lo tonu. This, the Rebbeinu Shalom says, lo tonu, means don't. Well, we're going to understand. Like, we're going to have to, like, what over here, the reference of lo tonu means don't fool. Don't cheat, but don't cheat what? Don't cheat him out of the moment. Don't cheat him out of what could happen right now. This is so deep. Look what he says. V'zeh she'amar David HaMelech alav hashalom. He's going to quote a pasuk from Tehillim, and he's going to dissect it for us. Teishev be'achicha tedaber, beven imcha titen dofi, ele asita v'hechrashti, dimisa heyos eye kamocha, ochichacha ve'erecha le'einecha. I'm just going to free translation, and then we'll see how the Ishbitzer translate this. Teshev be'achicha tedaber, you're going to talk about your brother. Beven imcha titen dofi, you're going to speak slander about the son of your mother, meaning your brother. Eile hasita ve'echrashti, you did this and I'm silent. Dimisa heyos ehye kamocha, did you think that I'm going to be like you? Dimita heyot ehye kamocha. I know it's a little bit difficult Hebrew, but we're there. It's okay. Ochichacha, I'm going to mochiach you, ve'erecha le'einecha, and I'm going to show you what it's all about right in front of your eyes. Strong pasuk, even before the Ishbitzer says anything. David HaMelech, fireballs over here. Strong, strong words. What's beautiful, our privilege of sitting here where we are, it could very well be that David HaMelech came up with these words where I'm sitting right now, where you're sitting right now. To me, it's an important thing to remind ourselves this all the time. Because when we're on Pico and Robertson, no one said anything over there. Central Avenue, no one ever, a lot of people have said amazing things the last 50 years, but there's no Yosef Tzaddik that he didn't say anything over there. But we're here. David HaMelech Mamish could have been sitting right here, standing on these rocks, saying these words. It gives it a little bit of more of a flavory time. So look at this Gevald. Look how the Ishbitz is going to explain this. Teishev be'achicha tedaber bevenimcha titen dofi. That means basically you're going to be sitting there talking about your brother like this. Hainu me'echar she'adam mechuyav le'ehov et chavero kemetzuva eleinu ve'ahavta l'recha kamocha. You have a chiyuv to love your friend, like we just learned about it 2 parshas ago. Ve'ahavta l'recha kamocha. Adam tzarich levakesh rachamim be'ad chavero. You see your friend doing something wrong, and your gut reaction is to prosecute him? What should be your gut reaction? Ribono shel olam. Please, what does it mean to ask rachamim for him? Even if he doesn't deserve it? He's saying, the way I'm understanding it is, what does it mean to ask rachamim? It's to look at someone that's off the derech, whatever the heck that means, and you say, Ribono shel olam. You must give over to them your words, sweeter. That should be your gut reaction, the Ishbitzer, I think he's saying. If you have a mitzvah to love him, but you see he's doing something wrong, how do you live in a world where you think that v'ahavta l'recha kamocha only applies when it's easy to love the person that's next to you. When you see someone that's off, the Ishbitzer is saying, at that moment, it's what a moment it is for you to ask that mercy should be upon that person. It doesn't only mean you should forgive the person for whatever he's doing, but HaKadosh Baruch Hu, please have your words shine into their hearts stronger, deeper, sweeter, in a way that they can hear. Be'ofen hamiskabel, like the Rebbe always said, that when you give over Shabbos to someone, it's got to be in a way that can be received. That should be the way that you react, that your gut reaction should be to being exposed to something that's off. But instead of asking Rachmanis, instead of asking Ribono Shel Olam, please, 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 shine your words stronger into him, you're going to prosecute him? Al zeh amar Hashem Yisbarach, Eile al sita ve'echrashti. What does that mean? You did this and I was silent? Meaning, you've done the same thing before. And what was my response, Hashem saying? Hechrashti. I remained silent. Hainu be'im Hashem Yisbarach yirtzeh levarer. If God really wants to do a birur, which means if he really wants to check and see if you were really, really, really l'shem shamayim shebel'shem shamayim, who in the world can stand before God and said, you won't find anything not unclean by my avodas Hashem? Even the greatest tzaddikim in the world, their actions cannot be that they would be like absolutely clean before the Ribono Shel Olam. Why? Ki neged Hashem Yisbarach mi yutzdak umi yomar zachisi libi. Who can be justified and who can say to Hashem, you see, take a magnifying glass, you'll see I'm completely pure. So what is Ishbitzer saying over here? Everyone has a nekuda that if Hashem would act like this person, Hashem would find reasons, legitimate reasons, to prosecute them and to judge them. By the way, you know, Reb Nachman speaks about this when he talks about the inyan of his brodidus. He says you can start doing his brodidus, and then you can start in Azamra. Do you remember this?
Yeah, when you're like zeroing in on your...
He's saying you can, if you zero into, you have to zero on one chelek of the mitzvah. Because, you know, we have this obsession of like being real. So a person, if the name of being real, can kshech themselves. Because if they take each mitzvah they did and say, I want to be real now, right? And they look inside and realize, you know what, there was a little bit of gaiva in that mitzvah. I can't count that one as on my list of, I did good. If Nachman says you're going to get down to a situation where you're going to dissect your own mitzvahs to the fact that you won't even be able to see them anymore. That's what he's saying over here. So Reb Nachman says, just trust that there was one piece of the mitzvah. Maybe the whole thing wasn't for sure l'shem shamayim, but there was a nekuda within the nekuda within the nekuda of a mitzvah that was l'shem shamayim. So over here he's saying, if the Ribono Shel Olam would x-ray each and every act, even of the greatest tzaddik, no one would be. We say this on Yom Kippur. It's a geval. This is my. There's a tape that I got hooked onto years ago of Lubavitch Nigunim and a lot of nusach also. I love nusach, especially Yomim Noraim and Sholosh Regalim. So there's this tape. I later found out it's my friend's grandfather, Altaz. Shmuel Betzalel Altas, this is the brother of Penny Altas from Kfar Chabad. So Shmuel Betzalel Altas, remember on that, I recorded one of his songs that he sings. So he has a track there. It's from Tfilas Ne'ilah. Ata, I always want to do it, but the thing is, it's already everyone's by Ne'ilah. This would be like a 15-minute piece of Chazan as I have Rachmanis and everybody. In Lubavitch, they did it. They do. When I daven, yeah, nachon. When I was chazan by Lubavitch Chevra, I would do it by like Reb Shlomo Gestetner in Melbourne with the Chevra. Ata hivdalta enosh mirosh.
You separated out man from the beginning.
Kimi lefanecha matif al. Where it goes through a whole thing of, look, we're at the end of Yom Kippur. You separated us from the beginning of time, right? And mi yomar lecha, who could tell you, who could stand before you and tell you anything? And we say that also, im avonos tishmar ka, Hashem mi yamod. So if you actually count my avonos, or if you look at me the way that this person looks at other people, who can stand? So he says, "Ba'afal pichen," Hashem saying, nonetheless, Hashem yitbarach shotek ve'ino megale klon shum adam af ki echta. The Ribbon Shalom doesn't have an inyan of when he sees that maybe we're a little bit off, that he goes around and tells everybody, by the way, stay away from him. You know how many things Hashem has kept quiet, and every so often, like, you kind of feel like Hashem's going like this to you? It's okay. It's between me and you. And that's what he's saying over here. Like, I saw it. It's okay. Ela sita vechrashti. What you saw in that person, come on. You've also done this. I've kept quiet.
Is this touching on the union of Hashem not punishing us if we do something until we have an opportunity and we judge somebody else in doing the same thing?
This isn't referring to it, but I could see the correlation, absolutely. But I don't think he's speaking about this in Inyan Dafka, but it's clearly, you could see that, yes. Dimisa heyos eheye kamocha. That means you thought, dimita, you imagined that I will be like you. Like when you do that thing of looking at someone that's off and wanting to grill them, l'shem shamayim, it's because you think that's what I would do right now. Now, if you catch someone, mamish, that they're about to tell someone off, like a kanoi, they will tell you. They will tell you, if I had to imagine what the Ribbon Shalom wants me, would do right now, he would do this. So I'm an extension of God. I'm his shliach. Because if a person stops for a second and thinks about it, he's like, maybe the Ribbon Shalom wouldn't act like this. Maybe the Ribbon Shalom would be just rachmim. Then a person wouldn't allow himself to go forward and judge and prosecute and point out the bad in that person. So the misa heyos eya kamocha, the Ishbitzer says, ki ha'adam ha'mekatre gal maseh shel chavero, a person that is prosecuting on the action of his friend, Yisrael be'eino ki hu mezukach kirtzon Hashem yisbarach. In his own eyes, he doesn't see his own dark spots. He sees himself as completely refined, like the Ratzon of Hashem. V'gam Ratzon Hashem Yisbarach kachu lekatreg al ha'adam ha'choteh. And it's also the Ratzon of Hashem Yisbarach would be to prosecute what basically the person saying, I'm telling you, God would do what I'm doing right now. Trust me. That's the kind of person, right? I hear the pshischa right now screaming at this guy. V'lo tonu ish et atzmo. Are you willing to first be makpid and not fooling yourself before ever daring to act like this? Meaning, is your Kabbalah Torah first v'lo tonu ish et atzmo, and then I'll work on ish et amitecha? Perhaps. V'lachen yikatreg alav v'al zeh ne'emar lo me'Hashem yisbarach. So then the Ishbitzer says, David HaMelech ends off and says, Ochichacha ve'e'ercha le'einecha. I will prove you wrong and I will show it right in front of you. E'ercha le'einecha. What am I going to show you? Look how the Mei Hashiloach says. I know. Sh'Hashem yisbarach yar'eh le'einei ha'adam hamelamed chov al chaveiro be'omro ki gam rotzon Hashem yisbarach hu lezeh. Hashem will show the person who is melamed chov and not schus on his friend, but to the person that says Hashem also wants this, v'yuchach lo Hashem yisbarach ki ritzono hakodosh eino rak lehastir kol chatei Yisrael. Bishbitzer says Hashem's going to show him, do you know what I really want to do? My inyan is tashlich. That's my thing in the world. It's not just, I know we stress it on Yom Kippur, but really my thing all year long is tashlich. What do we do in tashlich? V'sashlich b'mitzulos yam kol chatosam. Meaning, Hashem wants to cast away those bad things into the ocean, even when you don't do tashlich. Hashem's lichatchila is tashlich. See, when we do tashlich, we're like, okay, I ask you, Hashem, take my sins, I'm throwing them in the water, throw them away. The Ishbitzer says, do you know how often that happens without you even realizing it, or noticing it, or asking for it? And here, you want to do the opposite of tashlich? I'm busy doing tashlich on this person, and you're running to the ocean, and you're putting it back on my plate. Who are you? That's what the Ishbitzer is saying. This is now, but again, who is he speaking about? Nefashos gedolos yikre erech. This is so deep. He's not talking to the average sinner. He's speaking about big neshamas that want emes in the world. Now, as I was learning,
Have the power.
sorry,
And that have the power.
and that have some type of authoritative power, correct? Not real power, but
No.
authoritative power. Nachon.
You're right.
Over
Power.
that
Nachon.
person.
Nachon. Nachon. To really understand the meat of this, you have to know a little bit about the machlokas between Ishbitz and Kotzk. Now, we need 3 weeks for it. It's not, I'm not going to do it right now, but in a nutshell of nutshells, the Ishbitzer and the Kotzker were best friends. Eventually, the Ishbitzer became like more of a Talmid Chaver, like a friend student. But after many years of the Kotzker's seclusion, the Ishbitzer finally, Motzei Simchas Torah, journeyed off to Ishbitz from Kotzk, and spent the last 13 years of his life in Kotzk. In Ishbitz.
Ishbitz.
And the Kotzker told everyone, he actually finally did come out of his room late that night, in the middle of the night, and he said to everybody, whoever's here can stay, but whoever's not here can't come back. Because he knew that a lot of people would start coming back, which they tried to, and they couldn't. Now, one of the ways of us trying to understand the machlokas was, when it comes down to it, how do we relate to the concept of emes in this world, right? It seems to me, Mamish is just lanios daiti. I'm even embarrassed, even honestly. I'm just sharing like we're chavrusas now. I'm not as a teacher. I'm just sharing like I think that maybe this teaching is a little bit of his coming out and saying, I think this is what emes is. It's not the other way, which would be, like according to the Kotzker, what would be emes over here? Like it's true, you shouldn't fool yourself, but if someone's wrong, they're wrong, and don't start doing chachmas. And here he's saying, look, Ishbitz Kotzker, you taught us about emes lamito. I think the emes lamito is it's impossible for us to feel that we're in a place of prosecution, because no man is ever truly aware of all the times that Hashem Yisbarach goes like this to us and says, it's okay, I threw that one away. We're not aware of it.
No, we don't notice what he didn't do to us.
Correct. That's exactly it. That's how the Ishbitzer is kind of saying, that's how we're learning out Emes La'amita. But don't fool yourself. Fooling yourself would mean, I have somewhat of a hasaga, I kind of know. Like that this is what Hashem would want. And Ishbitzer is saying, you can never, if you put yourself for 1 second in the Emes La'amita, you could never come to the conclusion to go about this. Now, I know this raises a lot of questions. It's kind of the reasons why, for years, I never taught this, because what's a little bit problematic here? There is a mitzvah that's called Tochecha. Right. Tochecha, to rebuke.
Yeah.
So, yeah?
There's a story that I read last week, but I think it was the Rebbe.
Please speak up.
Sorry, yeah, I'm trying to remember. It was either the Rebbe Rashab or the Rebbe Marash. It was a great story about that. He said that he once had a vaccination, and he was talking like if it was the Rebbe Rashab, it was, late 1800s, early 1900s, and the vaccination was such a long process. Like they came in and they washed his whole limb, and they put fire on all the needle and made sure that was all sterile, and then like a whole 20-minute long procedure to sterilize everything, and then they injected so he said from that he learned, like the Baal Shem Tov teaches, right? We learn from everything. That from that he learned that that's the only way that you can do a rebuke. That like it has to be this whole long process of preparation and like surgical injection right into the spot of where it needs to be done and not,
So that's the Lubavitch approach.
Right?
The Breslev approach is, let's leave that mitzvah for others, and let's work on everything else but that mitzvah. And then when we get to everything else, we'll get to that. Kind of.
Don't go to doctors in the first place.
Because he's saying lechatchila, that according to this lechatchila, there is, if you do this, you could do that. The Rav Nassan is saying,
no, but it's like, it was like done with professionals for a
Right,
specific
right.
purpose. And like, it's almost like it can never actually happen.
No.
unless it actually happens.
right, right. No, I know. In the bottom line, they are saying the same thing. Not just because we like to make it sound like they're together. It is because no one's saying, no. If you're really stark, you could do tochecha. No, it's a very heavy thing. I love the way Reb Nassan explains it, where he says like we're aware, we're conscious of that there is this mitzvah, but just like was it Rabbi Akiva or Papa? One of the Tanaim said, Tameh ani, I really don't think there's anyone that can do tochecha in this door, and he was saying it.
Because no one that can do what?
That could do rebuke in his generation.
In a way that will be accepted.
Yeah, you can only do it if you know it'll be accepted. They have to have a das. It's like a. So here, that would work over here, saying because you don't really ever know who can, Now, really, tochecha. Really, I actually, I think that the big tzaddikim have done serious tochecha, but not the way that we would envision tochecha. We envision rebuke as like people coming gathered in and someone getting ripped, right? Tochecha can be like hearing the deepest, sweetest story in the world. And a Rebbe can tell you the deepest, sweetest, nice, simcha dika story, and your soul can be filled with busha. Who was it? Which time? What the Vorker came to the Pshischa, I think it was, Rabbi Itzhak Vorker, I don't remember right now. I think the Vorker came to the Pshischa, and he overheard him learning Midrash Thursday night. The Midrash in the Parsha, Midrash Rabbah. And when he came in, he fainted right away. So after a while, they woke up the Vorker, and they said, what happened? He said, no one else heard that? They said, heard what? And he's like, oh. So after a while, they said to him, what are you talking about? He's like, the Rebbe
Basically what?
The Rebbe basically, in the most clearest way, said over everything wrong that I've done in my life. And also gave me a way how to fix it, but I didn't think it was possible because I was so filled with busha because I thought everyone else heard it too. So I fainted out of busha. So like really the real tzaddikim can tell you over, they have their way of saying, you could sing a nigun and feel like, oh my God, I just got totally rebuked. Do you know what I mean? Did it ever happen to you? That someone's saying over like a nice Dvar Torah or something, and you like, why is this person giving me the deepest mussar?
What's happened in someone's sphere on her own are teachings of you.
God. What's going on tonight?
No, I mean, because they
I'm the Yetzer Hara, I'm this.
No, not you, but you.
I'm just talking to myself.
You think about it and you think, whoa, okay, like that's an error.
Right.
That's right. No, that's right. When you read this is what it's about, you say, I'm not doing it right.
Exactly, yeah.
Can I be your sanagor and say that whenever I say you're talking right to me, you always say I'm talking to myself?
Hopefully, forever, Bezrat Hashem. Okay, let's fast go back inside the text.
Can I just
No, only if it's, but it's not about like anything else other than
what?
nothing.
No.
Just stay on topic.
It is totally on topic.
Yeah.
That the beginning of the pasuk is V'yareichem Elokecha, which is Midat Hadin, and then it's Ki Hashem Elokecha, and then Midat Harachamim is in here also, which is instead
okay, it's
of
okay.
our looking at it as din, as
Yafeh, it's Rachamim. It's Rachamim. That's
Yeah.
beautiful. That's beautiful.
Can I say it fast enough?
Yeah, I just think for a second, I want to make sure that there's not a typo on the top over here, because when I saw it in the beginning, I'm like, I don't know if that. No, you're right. Ken Hashem Elokechem, yeah. Hashem, when it comes to the name of Hashem, there's the attribute of mercy and the attribute of judgment, right? Just like more hard. Hashem, Yud Kei Vav Kei is, and Elokim is din, right? So it ends off with, it says, listen, V'yareta me'elokecha, you shall fear your God of judgment. Ki ani Hashem. I'm also, that God of judgment is really Hashem, it's Rachamim. So however you envision judgment, just know, I'm waiting for you to ask me to make my Torah sweeter for that person, as opposed for you to rip that person. But it's so easy. By fooling him, by thinking that that's what he needs to hear, you're fooling him, you're fooling yourself, you're fooling everybody. כמו שנאמר, second to bottom paragraph, ותשליך במצולות ים כל חטאותם. היינו שיסתיר אותם בהסתר גדול, שלא יתגלו ולא יתראו עוד. That it should be mustar, it should be hidden with such a concealment, and they should never ever, those bad things they've done, it should never ever be seen again. You want to rub a person's past, like when people do this to Bali Tshuva, it drives me crazy. It drives me crazy when they think they're being funny and cute, reminding people about their past. And it's like they and the Ribono Shel worked so hard on saying, listen, it's not them. The tshuva, it's in the ocean. You're really going to dig deep into the ocean and try to yank something back that Baruch Hashem was thrown out there? And you think you're being funny and cute, but really, at that moment, what are you doing to that person? It's the opposite of what the Ribono Shel Olam did. Okay. Ve'ech yomar ha'adam she'Hashem yisbarach chafetz belimud chov al adam lapiach chato. How can man say that this is what God would want? To make a stink out of someone's avera? אם אמנם כי ציווה השם יתברך להוכיח איש את אמיתו. Yes, Hashem commanded תוכיחה, ולהרחיקו מכל רע כפי היכולת. Mishbitz is saying the mitzvah of rebuke was meant so that you should distance man from any form of bad in accordance to how much you could do. When is this? זה אינו רק במקום שיודע שיוכל להסיע אותו מזה בטוב. This is only when what? When you know, like we said before, goodness and good feelings will come from this. But you know what's amazing? When you see an opportunity for tochicha, you don't really have that feeling of, something really good is going to come out of this. It's more, here's an opportunity for me to unleash something, generally speaking. But he's saying if your gut reaction to someone that's off is like, this is so great because something so good can come out of this, then maybe we could say there's room to do tochicha. But who's there? Who's on that level? Or al yedei tefillah, shi'orer rachamim alav shi'uchzar lemutav, or davening over them. That's what could happen at that moment. But if you can't do either of these, ach be'im lo yuchal la'asir oto, צריך ללמוד זכוס עליו, ולא לקטרג עליו. You see someone off? Sorry. Where are you? Check. Don't fool yourself. Where are you? What are you feeling? Your gut reaction. What's going on? Judgment? This is what God would do? A little bit of fire? That's a simon that what you're about to do cannot be holy. And it's not the Ratzon of Hashem. כי אין אדם יכול לדון את חברו לכף חוב. Now why can't you ever judge someone? How do you say kaf chov? Kaf zchut we know is favorably. What's kaf chov? Unfavorably. But what's the lashon in English, Ellie? Stumped. Are you stumped? Wow, this never happened. We've been learning for, yeah. Harshly? No. No, I'm just having fun because we all know what it means right now. It's okay. We'll continue. Now, why Ishbitzer says you can't? Why is this Torah relevant? Because the person you're looking at, listen to this. This is so deep. This is so deep. Why can't you judge someone unfavorably? Because you're judging him in accordance to how you think your Yetzer would react in this situation. But why do you think that he has the same Yetzer Hara as you. No two Yetzers are the same. What might light a flame of lust in you does nothing to him, and vice versa. So any sense of real judgment, judging someone unfavorably, is only really describing a situation that you're saying, I wouldn't do that. Well, that's because you're not doing that. He's doing that. And he's created with a different set of tools. They're similar limbs, but the passion in the bones works differently. The greater a person is, the greater his yetzer, the more he has to overcome things that the other person doesn't have to do. And you're going to judge him based on what? Based on what? Imagine the Rebbeinu Shalom would show you, do you know what he's working against? It's like looking at someone that has a hard time honoring his parents. What a chilul Hashem, right? Do you know this kid was physically abused by his mother or father? What do we know people have gone through? Oh, but if I knew that, then I wouldn't have judged him. But you don't know anything about anybody. You don't know anything about anybody. So that's Klal Aleph. That's why the Ishbitzer says this. He's mefarish the Torah like this. Now it gets very hard. Okay, I underlined this in my first Mei Hashiloach till I almost ripped the page. Oh, what's the other reason why you can't ever judge someone? Or maybe that which you see. I didn't make this up. This is the Ishbitzer's words. Or maybe because that which you see, which seems to be wrong, is actually permitted to him. כי יש דברים שלאדם אחד אסורים ולאדם אחר מותרים. Okay, לילה טוב. I can't. I'll tell you, I can't. I wish that the teaching ended a sentence earlier. I wish, because, wow, beautiful. And then he ends with this, and it's like, we really need a lot of help. We need a lot of help. I'll tell you, I learned one pshat this year on this from a Rav that gave the shiur. I wanted to see how, he said a beautiful little shiur, and then I was like, I'm waiting. Okay, what is he going to do at the end, right? He says, because maybe if you see someone that's not fasting on a Asar B'Teves, it's because they have a health problem, so it's mutter for them to eat, even though it's asur for you. I don't know. I think no, right?
That's too easy.
That's too easy, right?
It's too easy.
It's got to be. It's got to be something else, right? Now, this is where really the world of Ishbitz comes out and pops his head out and is like, we're not like everybody else. There's something going on here. I don't think anyone can really explain Lamaisa, because the Ishbitzer would never ever say to go over halacha melechatchila, ever. No such thing. But he has said in here and in other places a similar lashon of that different neshamas are operating on different levels, and what seems to you to be an avera sometimes is actually a mitzvah. Well, I'll give one example. I'm not even going into Yehuda and Tamar, even though he Pincha, the whole thing, Cosby, Zimri. He gives an example of the Meraglim. And he says the Meraglim's Dibas Haaretz was the greatest words of love that ever existed between a Rebbe and the Talmidim.
Followed by however.
He's saying why? He says Hashem will show us that really how could the Meraglim, remember we learned this Torah. Because what did the Meraglim do? They knew, they were all prophets. They all knew what was going to happen the second they go into Eretz Yisrael. What would happen? Bye bye Moshe Rabbeinu. Bye our Rebbe. So therefore, they said what they said with hopes to push off and have more time with Moshe Rabbeinu. Now, it doesn't solve for us this last sentence. It's a very, very difficult sentence. And every year I said, we're not going to learn this piece because of this last sentence, but I feel like we can learn this and still be in a question of, I'm not sure what the last sentence is over here.
Would you say that Moshe Rabbeinu hitting a rock is like a thing with this? I'm not punished like that for hitting a rock,
Right.
right? Like he
Right.
was on a different level than.
Meaning,
so,
to me it's mutar, but to him it was asur.
Right.
Right, but the way that we're learning it out is that for what's mutar for him, that's not as hard for me to judge. What's hard for me to judge is something that's asur for me. That how could it be something that's mutar for you?
But it says la'adam echad asurim, la'adam echad mutar.
Nachon. So for me, like I'm saying, the way I'm looking at this, the Ishbitz is saying, you can't judge why, because someone that's doing something, maybe that for you it really is asur. For you, it's asur, and for him, it's mutar. The example you gave is that for him it's asur, and for me it's mutar. So for me, that's not. I wouldn't be quick to judge. Exactly. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah.
I think it's because you never know.
Right. So the question. So we know you never know. The question I have is, can you live with this teaching in a lechatchila world? Meaning, can you go about life? It's like, thank God he put it to the end of the teaching, because if he put it in the beginning of the teaching, we wouldn't be able to really understand how to implement this teaching into our lives.
And into the chinuch of our children.
That this kid can have a later bedtime and this kid can't?
No, I mean the gadol.
Because when he says asur mutar, I'm thinking like mitzvahs, averas, halacha and stuff like
But
that.
with children also, where when you're trying to educate them, then you have to balance between being a kategor and a sanegor.
Yeah.
Does he talk about it more elsewhere? No, by
Yeah.
Ochach Tochiach, which is just 2 parshas back.
Yeah, there I don't recall, but I mean,
Because he needs to flesh this out a lot more if he's going to help his Hasidim.
oh no, he does,
Okay.
he does, but it gets even more crazy. He brings the Arizal regarding like Cosby and Zimri, right? Now who was Zimri? Who was she? To what? Was she a Yidla?
Zimri was the he.
Sorry, Cosby. Who was Cosby?
She was princess.
Midian. Zimri. Was he? Right. Okay. They were soulmates. Really?
In public. I'm on the other side of it.
He's saying we could. It's not the time for it. It goes into it over there as well as how could it be that they were soulmates if what Moshe Rabbeinu did was right, if what Pinchas did was right.
They died together.
So why would Hashem make them soulmates?
For whatever tikkun reason Hashem.
So that's an easy answer for whatever tikkun it is. I can't live like that. I need something. Meaning, I think it's like this. The closest I can get to is like this, and we have to end here because it won't stop. Trust me, I've tried this before. I think it's like this. When I live with the teaching like this of the Ishbitzer, and I'm saying don't fool myself, I can learn this teaching and fool myself and say that those things that are permitted to other people, it was referring to me. I'm allowed to do certain things that are asur for other people. But the way to learn this teaching out, emes la'amito, is that you are always under the category of what? Of asur. But the way Hashem wants you to look at other people in order to judge them favorably is to be on the level of, like Reb Shlomo always ended, you never know. You understand what I'm saying? The deepest way the individual Jew that is obligated in Torah and mitzvahs, halacha, and accepts it with such beauty and passion. And I'm learning it with the Pshischer echo, right? Don't fool yourselves. Means, yes, it's true. There are things that are asur for one person, and they're mutter for somebody else. Which one do you put? What category do you put yourself in when you learn this teaching? The one that can maybe start giving himself kulas and hechshers on things that are really aser? Or do you stand in the place of, look, it's definitely speaking about nefashos gdolos that I just don't know about them. Why? Because I can't judge them. But I don't learn out from this to say things like this are mutter for me. That's one way. That's one way of understanding. Does that make sense? Does anyone have a clear understanding that's different? A clear one, not a.
There's judges and there's juries. There are judges and there are juries.
Please speak up, Ellie.
There are judges and there are juries. You'll appreciate this.
Yeah, I know about
And we
that.
talk about a jury of one's peers.
Right.
And what he's saying is there are no peers. You're all individuals. And you have to really, and even if you're a judge and you think you know the law, right, there's only one judge. And you can't say you know the law. Right? Because you didn't create it and you're not prepared, you can't judge it. So there always has to be this element of doubt when you come to be judge and jury. And if you don't appreciate the real role of divine judge and jury, you're cheating yourself and everybody else. I think that's a possibility.
That's beautiful.
Thank you.
That's really, really, really beautiful. We should listen on whatever level we inhale a Torah like this. On whatever level it is, on whatever level we can inhale a Torah like this, we should be blessed to know that I really believe with all my heart and soul that stopping ourselves from judging unfavorably is mamish tiferes tanetzach, is the most beautiful thing that lasts forever. That's why maybe we're learning that tonight. Anyway, and we should be privileged that when we see someone off, that we should turn our gut reactions from what a bad hashpah this might be on my children to, you must give them Shabbos in a sweeter way. You must give them learning in a way that's good for them. And then how can Hashem say no to tefillas like that? Okay, Yeshua Koach, everyone. Thank you so much for coming.
It's beautiful.